I got hit. I was running claims up in New England, right? The day Ida hit, or the day that Ida was coming in through New Jersey, right? So, it's coming up here. And first, to go back on these storms and the weather events, we were supposed to get rain. It was supposed to be shitty. I was inspecting some claims, and I'm trying to get home so that, or I'm trying to get these, roofs looked back from Henry, whoever the fuck. So I'm
Henri, yes, Henri.
Henry. Yeah. So I'm trying to get that done before the rain comes down. That's it. We're supposed to just get some rain. So I start driving back, and I'm driving through New York, and start getting, the flash, phone goes off, flash flood warning, all that. And I'm like, oh, I better
Here
hurry
it
up.
comes.
No big deal. I get this shit all the time. So, and then, rain starts coming down and starts getting heavy, heavy, heavy. And then I get on the highway that leads to where I live, and I'm driving a truck, and I start going through some flooded areas. So I'm going through flooded area, and eventually the highway shuts down. So I have to get off the highway, do some back roads, get back on the highway, shut down again. And I'm going through different areas of flooding, but, manageable, right? And then I get to a point where the highway shut down. There's a police officer right there at the flood, and the side street that I would normally take to try to find my way around, it doesn't go anywhere. So I'm kind of fucked. Right. So I go in there, and I'm thinking, what do I do? Well, the highway shut down. So it's a highway with a median, right? And the highway shut down, and I'm looking up the highway, and I think, you know what? Fuck it. I start driving the opposite way. I get up. I go find a Wawa, a 24-hour gas station convenience store. Lights are on. It's on high ground. Food, water, bathroom. I look at it, and I think,
You're camping.
yeah, I could camp here, wait this thing out, go get myself a sub, maybe, do some laptop work, and that's it. But I really wanted to go home, man.
Mm-hmm.
So this Wawa was at a corner at an intersection. So I was able to cross over the highway. Now I'm 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away from my house, right?
Mm.
So I go up to this road, and there was this road that runs parallel to a stream, and the stream was was flooding. So
Yep.
I couldn't find my way on the other side of this road. So I'm going to all these different intersections on these back roads, just trying to cross it, and there was no having it. So I'm looking at Google Maps on my phone, and it has the little red lines, where there's
Right.
backup. And I find an area where it's not red, and I'm thinking maybe it's not that bad right there. So I work my way.
Or maybe it's 2 feet underwater.
Right. So I work my way to this road that intersects with it, and I see that way off in the distance where this road is, there's lights going back and forth. It looks like people are crossing. I'm like,
That's a
there
good
we
sign.
go. Let's get home, baby. So I start going over. On my way there was a thing called, I found out now, something called Stony Brook, which is another body of water. So I cross this bridge. As I'm crossing this bridge, I look over to my left, and it's just violent waves splashing over this little short. It's like a 15-foot concrete bridge from like 1920. Waves are 10, 15 feet in the air coming over. I look at it, because if you've seen stuff like this on TV, you've never seen it in real life.
Yes.
Right. You don't really have much to compare it to, as in like, oh, I've been a part of this before. This is fucking bad. You don't really have that. So I look over, and I'm like, that shit doesn't look normal. And
that ain't normal.
So I get back on the road, and I see that there's a fucking ton of water in front of me. And I'm like, oh shit, I don't know how deep this goes. And as that's happening, water comes from behind me. And it was high enough at this point. I've already driven through like 5 floods that night, but with reasonably like confident I was getting through it. And the water came up high enough on the side, and I thought, this isn't good. So I made a quick left, because any road was better than the road I was on. And the road that I turned off of, it was just a river coming down that road, and just the water hit the hood, truck shut down, and I'm screwed.
What?
So yeah. So at that point, I'm like, shit, what do I do?
That Wawa was sounding pretty nice right about then.
Yeah. So I look around, I got my backpack in there. I look around. I'm like, I'm fucking throw my laptop in there, because you can take my truck, and you're not taking my fucking claims, though. That's my money. You're not having those. So I packed that in, and thankfully there was a couple people right outside of a house nearby that were out there, and they came in. So it's about waist high water.
Holy smokes.
They're like, get out, get out, get out. So I roll my window down. I'm putting my stuff together. I hand them my bag and I climb out through the window and we go to
Shit.
this house for safety. We get to this house and no sooner than I get in there, I'm soaking wet, from the flood and the rain coming down because it's pouring. And as soon as we get in there, that road that I had turned off of, there was a kid, like an 18, 19-year-old kid, trapped in a car. So the water was going down in one direction and it pinned his little SUV. It was like one of those crossovers, pinned his vehicle against a telephone pole.
Oh, shit.
So the water's just hitting his car. So they're like, there's a kid trapped in there. And this family, I know very, very little Spanish, un poquito, very little Spanish. And this was a huge family. One person knew Spanish or knew English.
New English, yeah.
Right. So they're like, there's a kid trapped. And I said, well, let's go. So we get out there and we're in a foot of water just in a yard. And on the opposite, so this road now is a river. It was just a river going down.
It happened fast.
Very fast. Yeah. I mean, we went 0 to 60 like very, very quickly. So anyway, long story short, we end up putting ropes together and we tied a rope to we had a moving strap and a couple like those little thin nylon ropes. And we found a milk jug, gallon milk jug. And we filled that up with water, tied it off. We had to get this kid to bust open his window because, his car was shut down. So we had to bust his window out. We threw this thing across and we had to psych this kid up. Because at this point, the water in the middle of the road was like 5-6 feet, something like that.
And he's freaking out.
Oh, he's freaking out big time. Yeah. We had to convince him to get off the phone because he was on the phone with his father and he wouldn't get off the phone. And eventually,
and you're trying to do this from across a flooded road.
About 20. Yeah, I'd say like 25 feet away, something like that. And we all had a come to Jesus moment when that kid, because I had already tried to cross myself. I tied the rope around my waist and I thought I could ford the river, but there was no shot. I mean, this debris going by like 15 miles an hour. So we threw the thing over. He tied it around his waist and we had to psych him up to get in the water. And I knew that once this kid and it was a pretty big kid, maybe like 5'9", something like that, 5'10". As soon as this kid jumps in the water, that river's going to take him. And it's up to me and these 2 or 3 other guys who I just met. Hopefully we don't go in too. Yeah. Right. Hopefully that all the ropes are tied tight and this kid stays in there. And all I remember, man, this kid jumped in, went underwater, and I jumped forward and I just started pulling. And look, I blacked out. I just started pulling, walking the other way, and we managed to get this kid out. But man, it was just catastrophic flooding.
Well, I mean, if you've never been, I've taken a couple NOLS courses. You know what NOLS is? Something NOLS leadership school. Mm-hmm. And fording rivers is no joke. I mean, that's a number one killer of backpackers. Trying to ford. And once it gets above your knee, it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
when you're talking about 4 feet of water. That's just a mountain of energy. You cannot fight. You cannot fight that.
There was no chance. I started walking because at first I'm pumped full of adrenaline at this point, and this kid's trapped, and I'm just thinking, so we got these ropes together, and I said, tie the moving strap around the tree, and I'm tying this, and there was a car that was still parked on my side, on the side that we were on. So I used that. I started, pressing against that as I'm moving closer and closer, and I can feel that little gap between the back bumper and the road, and that little foot right there. I could feel my ankles getting pushed under the car, and as soon as I got to the corner of the car, I couldn't step a foot on my own. Yeah, I just started getting wrapped up. They had to pull me back in.
There's no way.
Yeah,
you can't fight it.
Yeah, it was the most heroic shit that I have ever been a part of. Yeah. As terrible as that sounds, but as that was happening, as we were trying to save this kid, I watched my truck float on by, and I'm just thinking,
"Oh no!"
Well, it had 300,000 on it anyway.
Yeah, well. Hopefully you get the ACV out of that thing, get a new one.
Yeah.